Staying in the Disney bubble versus staying off property when we come back. Hey, everybody. How's it going? How's it going, Jen?
Hello. Hey, Jeff.
Beth,
How
Brandon,
are
how
ya?
are you guys?
Good.
Welcome
Glad
to
to
Fairy
be
God
here.
Squad.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes. As everybody can tell, we have a couple guests today. Unfortunately, we have Alyssa who's out sick. Man, that stuff's going around, isn't it?
Oh, it's brutal.
It's all over the place. Like I my daughter had it a few weeks ago, and it just seems like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's got little kids, so I'm sure they gave it to her.
Most likely.
So, but that's okay. We're gonna go forward as planned. And the whole topic today is one of my favorites that I love to argue and convince some of my clients about when they first call us. And I'm sure Beth, Brandon, Jen, you guys do the same thing. And they always ask the same thing. So tell me about staying on property versus off property. So I know for me, one of the very first things I always say is I'm going to correct you and call it staying in the Disney bubble.
Yeah.
You know, that seems to always like really help sell it, you know, right away. So do you guys get that a lot too?
Absolutely.
I do for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
they think we can save money. That's their number one question is, oh, can I save money if I stay off property?
you know, and that's our response, you know, that's our, I guess, responsibility to show them that no, you may save a couple bucks on your room, but there's so many more extra perks that you guys are going to get by staying on property. Now we will, you know, talk a little bit toward the end about, you know, staying off property if that's important to some, because I know some are going to come to us for tickets only, and that's just who we get at times, those types of clients, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your guys' vacation. But I know for me, I wanted to really highlight the reasons that for me, I will never stay outside of the Disney bubble, you know, when I'm on a vacation there. You know, obviously being a snowbird and spending a couple months in Florida, we do stay off, but we have a house that we own out in Sebring. But we always come into property and use our DVC points and stay on property to be in the bubble. So there's so many perks to it. You know, there's so many things. But before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our owner, you know, Leslie, and you know, Moments of Magic Travel. If any of you guys are looking to get a no obligation free quote, contact Brandon, contact Beth, myself, or Jen, or whoever you're working with, and we will help you guys experience the most magical vacation. And our services are free. So
Yes. 100%.
anyways, let's get into it. So
All right.
Jen, I thought maybe we could just kind of, you know, piggyback back and forth, and we could have Brandon and Beth give us their takes on each one of these points. You know, is that cool?
Yes. Yes.
You want to start? Or you want me to go first?
Sure. I've got it right here. So
right.
let's talk about the number one biggest perk is if you're staying on property, you can enter the theme parks 30 minutes prior to opening. And let me tell you what, that can make a huge difference, especially if the parks are busy. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, before you guys go, Brandon and Beth, for me, if I can convince my families to get up early and do that, in my mind, there's a lot of reasons. And first and foremost, you can get like the biggest attraction done in that first 30-minute window if you're willing to go to Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios or shoot right over to Tron, you know, now that it's a standby line. If you guys do that and get up early, there's some strong reasons that you can save money by not having to purchase a single pass for some of those attractions, you know. So that's my biggest reason I convinced my families to do it. That 30 minutes can mean the difference in saving some money. So it's not only a perk of it, but you can also save money by not needing the single pass. Brandon, Beth, what do you guys think?
Absolutely. Normally for me, it's a conversation of like, what's important to you in the parks? And a lot of times they're going to name those rides that end up having the huge long wait times by the end of the day. And by rope dropping and getting in that 30 minutes earlier, you can typically knock out one of those big ticket rides so that you feel like you accomplished a lot more in the first 30 minutes of your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
agree. It's a game changer. I mean, 30 minutes doesn't sound like much, but it's a big deal. And being there at rope drop and getting some of those big ticket rides is the difference in cranky children and happy children.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a whole nother, there's a whole nother discussion that when you get into the park early, you get to experience rope drop, or at Magic Kingdom, you get to hear yeah, I guess it's changed now. It used to be ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but it's changed a little bit, but you still get to hear some of the way the parks open up, and
That
that's
fanfare.
a cool thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the castle, if you want that castle shot, with not
Yeah,
that many people, that's gonna in the daytime anyway. That's the only time you're gonna make it happen.
Yep.
absolutely. Absolutely. What
That's a
else?
great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Is anything else on this one, Jen?
I think that's, that really kind of covers it all. I mean,
And look,
getting the big ticket items out right
yeah.
away, you can typically hit 2 things before
And
the park officially
Mhm.
opens.
and I know those of you watching, you're on vacation. I don't want to get up earlier than I have to, but you're doing a Disney vacation. You're going to get up early anyways. You can rest when you
Yes.
get home. There's an argument I tell my family. So they're like, well, how early should I get there for doing early entry? I was like, if the park opens at 7:30, plan to be there by like 6:45, 7 if you can, because there are other people who are thinking about the same thing. Well, how do I know where to go? I was like, just follow the herd. Most of the people are going right to the big ride. Just follow everybody and just ask somebody as you're going. You going to rides? And they're going to say yes.
Yeah.
There's a small group going to the right at Hollywood Studios. They're going to Aerosmith. Don't follow them. Go left.
Right.
Go left. Always go
So
left.
Always go left.
absolutely. So, number 2, it's very closely related to this one. It's for the resort guests who are staying on a deluxe or deluxe villa. There's actually extra magic hours too when you stay at a deluxe villa or a deluxe resort.
Mhm.
Contemporary, Polynesian, Boardwalk, even Saratoga and Old Key West. If you're staying at a deluxe resort, there are specific days throughout the week that us, as your travel agents, will be sure to let you guys know on the itineraries. But there are specific nights that a theme park, sometimes during peak season, there's more than one, but there's theme parks that are open anywheres from an hour to I've seen as many as 3 hours, during different times of year for you to enjoy. And to me, I almost like that better than the morning hours because so many families with kids that are on the family's hips are so tired that they leave, and the nighttime is almost what we like to call exclusive ride time. You can walk
Yes.
on and not have to get off some of these rides, to be honest with you. So what do you guys think about that? The extra, do you guys have families that are looking for that?
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
So my family, we actually took advantage of it. We stayed at the beach club, and it was one of those nights, Jeff, that it was 3 hours, and we just went nuts. We walked on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which y'all know you never just walk on that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we waited 5 minutes. We rode it 3 times in a row. And it was in February. It got a little cold. It was, for a Southern girl, it was in the 30s, but I appreciated it because everybody left. They were cold. We stayed. We had a lot in those 3 hours, and I'm with you. I liked it better. That was better than any after hours event. It was better than going in early. It was a game changer for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was a big game changer for one of the clients that I had, and it was sort of the opposite. Their kiddos are night owls. They don't do early mornings. They're not going to wake up and rope drop. That was not their
Yeah.
family. So by putting them in one of the deluxe resorts, they then have this opportunity to go to do Disney the way they do Disney. They stayed up late. They were able to do everything they wanted with the walk on, like you said, and it was perfect for them. So that was
Mhm.
absolutely the ceiling deal.
And Brandon, you hit on something that's very key for those families that are a little bit different than young ones and older ones. Usually the families that have the more established kids, the teenagers, the high schoolers, they're the ones that enjoy the nighttime. I having two older kids myself, I know that it's hard as heck to get them up
Yep.
for those early morning hours. Even though we're at Disney and you always seem to jump out of bed a little bit easier, it's harder. They choose a night hour, and
Yeah.
I
But
guess our
then,
go
yeah,
ahead.
that's a great. I was just going to say it's a great point because when you use an agent like us, we know those tips, those, I guess, points of interest, if I call it that, for your specific family's needs. If
Yep.
like if you have young kids that are up at 5 a.m., okay, you're gonna want the early hours, the 30 minutes early entry. But if your kids are older, we're gonna suggest, okay, stay here because this is the huge perk that you get and you're not gonna regret it. So that's part of the perk of using a travel agent, is we can really help tailor that experience to exactly what your family needs.
And
So
something's closely related kind of this, and a travel agent tip of the day that I always use for some of my families. Most of my families will get like a 5-day ticket if they're going for a week because they want that extra day, maybe at Epcot, or most of them will go to Magic Kingdom. I
Yeah.
always suggest to them, look, that's probably, one of those 2 days you're going to watch the fireworks, the other one you're not. And on the day that you don't watch the fireworks, go ride Tron or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You can get on and off during the fireworks
Yep.
with like, you can get 3 or 4 rides easily during that period where people are waiting for the fireworks and right through the show. So travel agent tip of the day there.
Yep.
So,
perfect.
all right, Jen, what's number 3?
Okay, number 3, free and convenient Disney transportation, which people still don't know that it's free. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
It's free bus, free monorail, free Skyliner.
Yep. And we want to
it.
clarify that, this is all on property, on bubble transportation. The Disney Magical Express was retired, shortly before COVID. Hopefully that'll come back someday. I don't know that it will with the whole Uber and Lyft being so popular. But yes, I mean, whether you're riding the Disney buses, which there's so much nostalgia about hearing that voice when you're on the bus, welcome to the Walt Disney World Transportation System. You're on your way to, Epcot. I still love that. I get chills when I hear that, thinking about my kids when they were young, right?
Mine is por favor, manténgase alejado de las
I was waiting for one of you to say.
And I probably just slaughtered it so bad, but that's my favorite.
I commend you for trying.
Yeah, the monorail. But the Skyliner, if you stay at one of the Skyliner resorts, Pop Century, Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, Riviera, there's just, there's so many advantages to just having that hotel set right there, because you can be at Hollywood or Epcot in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want a night away from your own food court, you can go over to Pop Century or Art of Animation and explore. It's always, fun to use a Disney transportation. And like Jen said, it's 100% free, and every resort has some form of the transportation, and many of them have multiple. There's actually a 4th one we didn't mention, and that's the boats.
Yep.
A bunch of boats.
Yep.
If you're staying at Port Orleans, or if you're staying at, Saratoga or one of those resorts over there, they have boats that'll take you over to some of the Disney Springs areas and just go for a ride. Stay in the back of Epcot, take the boat over to the parks, whether it be Epcot or Hollywood Studios or going over the Swan and Dolphin. It's a fun thing to do in your off day. Just take the Disney transportation and get lost.
I think that it is a ride.
All 4 options when we stayed there. We could do all of them.
Yeah.
And the transportations generally run for an hour or 2 after the parks close, and they'll start bringing you an hour or 2 before the parks open. So that's not going to be a point that you're not going to be able to use them because they're not available to you. They run until the last people are either away from the hotel in the morning or going back to the hotel at night. So it's a huge perk. It saves them a lot of money. People will not have to rent cars because of the Disney transportation. That's a big thing.
Yes.
Not have to rent a car. I know for me, when I'm at Disney World, staying, I don't necessarily want to have to worry about that, even though the parking is free, if you're staying on property. We'll talk about that here in a minute for the families that do, but Disney transportation is a big reason a lot of my families decide to stay on property.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you can
all right.
save some money.
Number 4.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen. You can introduce it.
All right. This one is a biggie because I've experienced this personally on the opposite side. If you're staying in the Disney bubble on property, you have access to your lightning lane selections 7 days ahead of time, 7 days ahead of your check-in date. And it's for your entire length of stay up to 10 days.
Yep.
Whereas if you're not staying on property, you only get 3 days ahead of time. And I will tell you, those 4 days that you're missing make a giant difference I couldn't. I stayed over right after New Year, and I could not get anything. I was staying off property at a timeshare resort that we have, which is right next door to Animal Kingdom. It was only 5-minute ride, but still
So let's
being
paint.
off property.
Yep. Let's paint a picture. I'm going to put Brandon on the spot and Beth on the spot. So Brandon's staying on property. Okay. He's staying on property. He's got a 7-day window and
Yep.
he's going to Magic Kingdom. What are the first 3 rides, because you're staying on property, that you're picking at 7 a.m. on the 7th day? Which 3 rides are you picking?
Tiana, Haunted Mansion, Peter Pan.
And Beth, you're staying off property. You got to do the 3-day. Which ones are you going to end up with?
Probably Small World and let's see, the Magic Carpets of Aladdin and
Mickey's Feel Her Magic.
Yeah.
Phil
yeah,
our magic.
that one.
Yep.
That's what if they're
And
even available.
Nothing wrong with any of these rides at the 3-day mark, but it's just, I wanted to paint a picture that it's just a difference. Those 4 days make a huge, huge difference. And, even you, Jen, who done it at 3 days during the holidays, it was even hard to get anything at that point.
We got nothing. And we could only get those 3 crappy ones. Well, I shouldn't say crappy because they're not crappy. Everything's great, but still the 3 less desirable ones, and everything else after that was gone.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
was gone. So
And that's one of the
So,
things that, Brandon, Beth, Jen, and myself will do for you on the 7th day at 7 a.m. I actually have to do it tomorrow morning, to be honest with you, for a family.
oh geez.
So yeah, I got to do it tomorrow
I just
morning.
did it
So
this morning.
I got to do it tomorrow morning. So we do those things for you, so you don't have to. We'll make sure everything is set up, and all you got to do is go and enjoy it. So that is a huge part. Now, we should just make quick mention that Disney has changed the system a little bit, from last year at this time. It's now called multi-pass, single pass. It's really, in my opinion, the best of the old fast pass system combined with the lightning lanes of the Genie Plus. That's really what single pass is lightning lane, and the fast pass is really what now is multi-pass. They took the best of both. I think the system's a lot smoother than Genie. I wasn't a big fan of Genie Plus. I think it's a lot smooth. I used it a couple times now, and I'll be using it a lot here when I'm doing my old man white pants thing here in a couple months. So all right,
And
what's
the
number
nice thing
5,
is-
Jen?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for
that's
it.
fine. Well, I was just going to say, a lot of times, and this is more of a detail thing you can talk to with your agent, but like when things come up and they say that they're not available, if you just refresh your system a couple times or go in and hit modify, new times will pop up. So
Yeah, they do.
Just
They do.
Yeah,
They
just a
definitely do.
little.
And that's a good point, because, after we pick those initial 3 rides for our clients, they're the ones in control when they get in the park, on those park
Right.
days. Don't be discouraged if some things aren't there. It could be there 5 minutes later because a family cancels it or changes their plans. So that's just a key. So cool.
Okay. All right. Let's go with number 5, which is dining plans, the quick service dining plan and the Disney dining plan. So, which is quick service or table service. And those are only included with packages, which there's a deal going on right now that
dining.
includes a dining package. Yes.
Absolutely. So Brandon, Beth, do you guys see that your clients take the dining plan quite a bit?
They do. If they know that they're gonna hit character dinings or a lot of those table service, they'll flock to it. It's almost like girl math. Whereas that TikTok trend, where you're pre-building it into your thing, you know that you have this budget already set for yourself. As long as you make sure you look at everything and utilize it properly, I think it can be the best tool for yourself.
Yeah. How about you, Beth? See a lot of your family take it?
Half and half.
Yeah.
Like kind of what Brandon said. If they sound like they're going to do a lot of character dining, sure, absolutely. Or if you're going to do a lot of the finer dining, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's not every family.
I always tell my family is, if you listen to me and where to eat, you guys can break the bank. We're going to do a lot of character meals.
Yep.
Yes.
But I do have families that there's nothing wrong with it. Some of the families, the adults will share a platter with their kids, and they don't do desserts, and some of the things aren't important to them, and that's me too, Beth. There's a lot of times that we'll take a dining plan if we're going with family that enjoys it, but most of the time I don't. And that's one of the things that us as agents can help, figure out for you if it's worth it and save you the money. Because some people just come into my calls automatically. We want the dining plan, and I'm like, well, tell me about your dining habits. We're not always trying to upsell you. We want to try to save you money a lot of times, so you have more to spend in the park. That's one of the things that at least I take very serious about being an agent. So don't be surprised if we talk you out of it too.
Yeah.
But
right.
but
Yeah,
Jen
we want to make sure that you're enjoying your
Yeah.
stay and enjoying your time and not being frustrated over,
for sure.
spending all this extra money and not feeling like you're getting your money's worth or whatever. So
Yep.
There's always hidden things too, like some of the restaurants give you a discount if you are a Disney Visa card holder. Well, you can't take advantage of that if you've prepaid for all of your meals. It's not in your advantage to do that. So there's like little things that agents kind of know about that we, we can figure out what's a better deal for you.
Absolutely. Same discount I get for being DVC member. We get a 20% off on most restaurants. Some of them are 10, but Jen hit it right on the head at the start. If you are thinking about a dining plan, it's one thing that you can't even indulge in if you're staying off property. So it's definitely a perk. So, and dining plans just returned back, last year. So they're just now, coming back, and they came back a little different, than they left when COVID hit. But I actually think they're a little bit better with the one snack now versus the two and such. So I don't know about you guys. Every time I done the dining plan, I always had a ton of snacks at the end that I had to go to the hotel and buy cookies I didn't need to take home in my bag.
You had to buy an extra suitcase
to bring your snacks home.
To bring your snacks home.
Yeah, because I'd be damned if I'm giving any money back. So
I'm getting my money's worth. But
absolutely. All right, so what's next, Jen?
All right, next we have, if you are staying on property, you get free parking at the parks and resorts. Now, that's not exactly true, parking at the parks, but you do get free parking at your resort. So they will not charge you a nightly fee to park. So that is definitely true.
Yeah, they won't charge you the nightly fee, but it is free to stay, at the theme parks. For basically being a resort guest. They don't charge you, right?
They don't.
They don't.
We drove last April and they didn't charge us. It's just basic parking, and then you have the option, to upgrade to here. And but yeah, the basic parking was free.
Yeah, basic parking.
Another nod to the Disney transportation. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can't drive to the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
You have to drive to the transportation center and then get on, the monorail or the boat to go to Magic Kingdom.
Unless you know how to tell the person at Contemporary, So, that's a whole nother topic.
Another perk for the Disney buses.
Yes, exactly.
Off at the door.
But no, I mean it's pretty significant savings, for not staying. If you choose to stay off property, it's going to cost you an extra. Let's say you pick a 5-day ticket. It's going to cost you an extra $125 per day to park at the parks. That's $125, and it's free if you're staying at a Disney resort. You just tap your magic band or your key to the world, and there's like, oh, you're staying at so and so. Enjoy. So it's pretty significant in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it might even be more. I feel like parking was Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. I think it was $30.
Yeah, maybe it's different now in 2025. I'm saying 25.
Yeah, it could be 30, 35. The last time I paid it was 25. So
yeah, it said it's between $30 and $55. So $30 a day times 5. There you go.
Yeah, that adds up.
It does. It definitely adds up. That's one of your character meals if you didn't take the dining plan right there. Just saving it, just that.
Yeah, right.
So. Or drinks at Abracadabra or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, drinks around the world at Epcot.
Yeah.
All right. So number 7.
Okay, number 7, we've got your wonderfully and beautifully themed resorts on property that are showstoppers themselves and attractions all on their own. So yeah, that's a definite perk. Is the resorts that we have are absolutely incredible.
And that's really what we mean by staying in the Disney bubble. I mean, in my opinion, the resort is the main part of their vacation. I mean, the parks are a huge part of it, but where you're choosing to lay your head every single night and,
Yep.
you know, spending a lot of time, even more than you are in the parks, even though you're sleeping part of that, that's a huge part of your vacation.
Yeah, the
And
resorts are a character in and of themselves.
they
Yep.
are, you
They
know,
continue the magic.
yeah, if you got small kids and you really want them to be, you know, just immersed in the Disney magic, some of my families, they specifically want like Pop Century or Art of Animation because
Yep.
that's just Disney in your face, you know. But every single resort has a theme, they have a story, they have multiple IPs that are usually connected to it. So,
And there's something for everyone. No matter what your vibe is, Disney does a great job of hitting all of it. Whether you do want in your face theming, if you want more scaled back, upscale, it has everything for every budget. They do a great job of making it accessible that way.
yeah, they do. They definitely do. And some of the nice things about staying in the Disney bubble, staying in the magic, and one of my favorite things, you know, is that we can walk to a couple theme parks, you know, from like where we usually stay. My home resort is Boardwalk through DVC.
Yep.
You know, not to say we stay there all the time, but 75% of the time we're at Boardwalk, and that gives me the ability to walk to Hollywood Studios or walk to Epcot. You know, that's a big perk. And you know, you also get all that Disney service and all that, you know, cast member pride and cast member magic throughout your whole stay when you stay at a Disney resort, you know.
And I
So,
love when you
Yeah.
walk up, they always say, "Welcome home."
Yes.
they definitely
Yeah.
do. They definitely do. Yeah, I love staying. I mean, to me that's the main part about staying in the Disney bubble is the resorts themselves.
Mhm.
You know, and that's why I always try to generally. Oh, John put a graphic up
Oh, we
for us.
gotta.
Yep. There's another,
Yay.
yeah, it's closely related to staying in a Disney resort are these, you know, these perks right here. One of the things that, you know, is super important for me, for my families when they're going for a week, is to not just spend all their time in the theme parks, right? If they're going for a full 7 days, I always tell them a novel concept is actually getting to enjoy your resort for a day or two, you know, using the pools and using all the amenities and the restaurants inside of that. You know, when you stay 7 days and you only have a 4 or 5 day park, you know, ticket, there you go. That's why. So I think Brandon lost his battery.
Uh-oh.
So hopefully he comes
Darn
back.
it.
So, all right, that's number 7. Let's move on to number 8.
All right. Number 8 is priority dining reservations, which means you can book your dining reservations up to 60 days in advance, which is going to be a huge thing because those reservations book up very, very, very fast. So,
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's 30 days for people that are staying off property, and it's 60 days, right? If I'm remembering it right. And it's 60
Yeah, I
days.
believe that is yep.
We'll have to Google that, do a quick Google search, but I think it's 30 days for people who are staying off property. And even, you know, even if we find out it's not quite that long, the most popular Disney restaurants, like, you know, for instance, trying to get into the castle for Cinderella's royal, you know, table, or trying to get into, you know, over at Wilderness Lodge to meet Snow White, Artist Point. You know, some of those restaurants will be gone at the 30-day mark if you're staying off property versus doing it, or us doing it for our families at the 60-day mark at 6 a.m.
So, Jeff, it is 60 days for all guests, but
Okay,
if you're staying off property, you can only do 1 day at a time.
Yeah.
there you go.
Staying
That's
on
what it
property,
is.
it's 60 plus 10.
There you go. And that's still right there. You know, some of the most popular restaurants will be gone that very first day. You know, so it could be really, really, you know, dining is a big part of most people's stay. The foodies especially, they really want to, they plan their whole trip around the character meals or whatever. You know, the 60-day mark, when you're staying at a Disney property, we can do the whole week for you at one shot. Whereas if you're staying off property, you're going to get up every single morning at 6 a.m. to do your dining. So absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Number 9 is, this one's kind of a mix. Magic Band Plus perks, hands-free convenience, and interactive fun. So it's not just a Magic Band, but it's also your Magic Mobile with your phone, your ticket on your phone, and you can use your phone to unlock your door, use as a charge, kind of just like a Magic Band Plus.
Yeah, it's more fun, you know, being able to use your Magic Band for multiple things. most of my families do not go without ordering a magic band. They always ask me, do we really need them? And I'm like, no, your key to the room will do all the things a magic band does. So I said, but the moment your kid sees these magic bands, they're going to bug you to buy them, and you're going to wish you had bought them in advance, where we can get 20 to 25% off for you through your package.
Yep.
You're going to be buying them at full price. So,
Mhm.
and I'm sure both of you, Beth, Brandon, you guys probably have multiple magic bands like I do.
Oh,
They're
I
right
don't
up
think
there.
you can see it, but I have a jar full right back there.
Yep. Yep. There's 4 looking at me right now.
Yeah, and I think Jeff and I have enough that go around our Christmas trees a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a magic band garland, and most of them are those old square ones from way back in the day.
Like when they were
You know,
free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
have
ones
one
that
of the
when they were
Judy and
free,
Bert
exactly.
ones.
But yeah, a big part of our Christmas tree is magic bands. So that's really nerdy of us, but that's
That's
funny.
really cool.
You're in light company. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. All right. Number 10.
10. I don't know if this is still applicable, but it was, and they may bring it back, but resort package delivery. Are we doing that now, taking your packages to your resort?
I don't think they're doing that.
I
They are
don't think
doing it where they ship home. You can buy the items and it doesn't have to be all at one time. As long as you have the receipts for multiple purchases, they'll ship it home and it's really, really cheap and discounted versus going to like UPS, and I've done both. Um, but I don't think they do the ship back to resort for you.
Yeah.
yeah, they did that before COVID, and they might bring that service back, but
We're waiting for it.
yeah, but that was kind of a nice perk, not having to lug your packages all over the park. They would just take them and you would get them in your room the next day.
I would think that's going to be one of the services that comes back. There's been so many things that didn't come back after COVID for whatever reason or another. And I think they hear clamoring about, can we send this back to our resort? I'd be surprised if that doesn't come back this year or sometime in the near future.
Mhm.
We'll see about that one. The next one that you're about to mention, I think, is a huge one, because a lot of my families love some of these extras, like watching. I'm going to let you say it here in a second before we get into it. But it's to me, it's a pretty important one for my families.
So yes, the next one is the resort activities and free entertainment unique to each resort.
And unique to Disney too.
Mhm.
Yes.
I know growing up, one of my favorite perks about staying at a Disney resort was my kids at night being able to go out there and watch a Disney movie with their blow up screens and being able to interact, get some
Yep.
free snacks that they would give them. That's one of the cool things about staying at a Disney resort, is they really give you that magic until these kids just plop down and fall asleep right in the ground. I mean, they're entertaining them all day.
Just drop. Yes.
So, and I remember one of my fondest memory with you, Jen, is at Boardwalk when we met up and hooked up there with your son for the it was Easter morning, I believe.
Yep.
It was Easter morning, and they were having the candy, basically the candy hunt, the Easter egg hunt at Boardwalk.
Mhm.
And I remember both of my kids filling up pillowcases just full of sugar. They're bouncing off the wall. And we just had to,
Ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But those are the things that they're going to get. There's generally Disney recreation people that are there all day, whether it's during the day and they're playing games at the pool,
Yep.
or whether they're running movies at night. There's always entertainment immersed to make you
Mhm.
feel like you're always in the magic and being entertained by Disney throughout the whole day, especially on your days off. So most people
Mhm.
don't know that they do work that hard. So
And a lot of the resorts will have a special recreation area. It's not just a kids area anymore, but it's like a family rec area where you can go in and do crafts, and you can do, and all of that is mostly included. There's only a select few things that you might have an upcharge for, but most of the like activities and poolside things are free. I
yeah.
know, especially over at Boardwalk, they have a little uh like a family center right next to the pool, and they do all kinds of crafts and drawing and whatever. But yeah,
And I
it's
know
great.
this isn't really necessarily going to happen all the time, but it's not one of the items, and I'm just going to mention it anyways. If you happen to be at Disney when there's, some bad weather like the hurricanes, and you are basically resigned and forced to stay at your resort, Jen, you and I just did this pretty recent, a couple
Yeah.
years ago. I think it was with Ian. Disney really puts on a great show with these same workers, entertaining you and bringing the characters and really giving you a as close to a theme park type like experience while you're, having to hunker down and lock down while the weather's going through. I actually, and I know this is probably not great to say, but I wanted to experience a Disney hurricane one time when I was down there. And I could have got out from conference when we were down there a couple years ago, but I chose to stay just like you did, Jen. And
Yep.
I actually had a blast. It was a
Yeah.
good time. And I know people had issues on the coast and everything, but it was a good experience to at least go through once. And families are going to go through it all the time. It just happens. So
Yep. And
I
Disney's
actually
really
had-
good about it.
I had several clients there at the same time, Ian, and one of them just went back recently, and his daughter was disappointed because she didn't know that wasn't normal for the characters to go to the lobby and just hang out with you. And they brought them like boxed lunches and delivered food to their room, and she thought that was normal.
yeah,
It's a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
for some, I hope it is only a once in a lifetime, but it does happen for us nerds who are there quite often though. So
Yep.
all right, number 12.
Okay, 12. We've got special seasonal and holiday benefits, exclusive holiday perks for resort guests. So that would be, let's see, first dibs on special event tickets like Not So Scary Halloween Party and the Christmas Party, Jollywood Nights, things like that. So yeah.
And getting to see the gingerbread house at Grand Floridian and really just being
Gingerbread
immersed in
houses.
that and
Yes.
sneaking down there several times a day and getting a piece of it to eat, and
Just
having the
the
hot
smell.
cocoa there. Yeah. Disney celebrates the holidays like, no other company does. And being immersed in not only what you went for, the holidays, but being immersed in a Disney way at your resort throughout that. I'm not saying that off property isn't going to give you that, but generally off property, they're going to have a Christmas tree in the lobby. That's going to be about it. At Disney World, they're going to immerse you in the magic and give you what each themed hotel is all about to the nth degree. So I love going during the holidays. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a little busier, especially if you go during those 2 weeks of Christmas, but it's my favorite time of the year. It's just something special about the resorts in that time of year, in my opinion, the way they decorate them.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I love jumping on the monorail and just going through the different resorts or Skyliner, but really getting to see each resort, how they do it. Because like you said, they're all themed to what each one represents. It's really beautiful.
Incredible Christmas trees too, like Animal Kingdom Lodge, that one in the Jumbo House, it's just beautiful. Or the one that they have at Wilderness, Wilderness Lodge. They're just, Disney doesn't,
amazing.
Nobody does Christmas like Disney.
For sure.
So unlucky number 13. What's next?
Okay, so you've got the convenience, ultimate convenience and relaxation that you don't have to leave the Disney bubble. So more time to enjoy yourself, less time to travel and drive to get to the parks. So let's talk about that, what it means like midday when the kids are having a meltdown.
Yep.
That's huge.
And especially if you're at Magic Kingdom and you had to park at the transportation center, and now you have to take the monorail to the transportation center and then go get in your car and then drive 20 minutes to your hotel.
Yep.
Yeah,
At the end of a long
good.
day, that's the difference.
I didn't even think about that, Beth. That's a pretty key point there, versus just going left when you come out of Magic Kingdom and jumping on a bus.
Your bus.
Yep.
You're there, what, 10, 15 minutes tops,
Yeah.
Because getting into your car, getting in there, walking through the parking lot, waiting for a shuttle, you're talking an hour and a half investment versus 15, 20 minutes getting back to your hotel.
Yep.
So pretty significant, or if you're staying at one of the Disney monorail hotels, you're back there in less than that, 5 minutes, jumping on the monorail or walking to the left or right to go to Grand Floridian or Contemporary. That's a good point. I never really thought about that one with Magic Kingdom in the parking lot. So, but yes, when you're staying in the bubble, just to put a bow on this one, you can go back to your resort. You're going to be there a lot quicker, take naps and get right back, to your park. Now, I will say that, during peak times of the year, maybe New Year's Eve or the 4th of July, sometimes that can be a little dicey situation leaving the parks because, if they're maxed out, you may have to wait a little bit to get back in. It's not very often that happens, but I have had clients that's happened too. But it's mainly been on New Year's Eve and 4th of July. Those are really the only 2 days of the year that I think are really problematic to get into. And it's usually just Magic Kingdom or Epcot. It's not typically Hollywood or that because they don't really have big shows at night, or those other two do. So, but for the most part, I can't think of any other 2 days in that you might have a hard time getting back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, we only got a couple to go.
All right. So exclusive club level perks. So Disney club level rooms offer some pretty cool things. So let's talk about that.
Polynesian is the one that comes to mind all the time. They have a club level where you can go in there and get some spirits and some wine and some beer. And depending on, what time it is, they have all kinds of breakfast snacks in the morning to, all kinds of little hors d'oeuvres and bag snacks and all that throughout the whole day. And I actually do have some fans, some families that specifically always travel club level because they want that perk.
Mhm.
What about you guys? You guys have a lot of families that do that?
I have a few, and they love it. Like, my recent client sent me a picture of his beer that he was drinking on his balcony every day that he had got from the club. They love it.
Yep, it's like staying club level or concierge. Once you do, it's hard to go back.
It
Yeah.
definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
And this is mainly at the deluxe resorts. It's not going to be found at Pop Century or Art of
Oscars.
Animation. I don't even think any moderates actually offer it.
Coronado Springs. offers
Coronado
it.
Springs, that's right.
Yeah.
I
And-
keep forgetting about Coronado. I think of Coronado and I think of the old Coronado. I don't ever think it with the
Yeah,
Grandestino
the new
Tower.
tower.
Yeah.
I always love the story about the Grandestino Tower. That's where the NBA played their bubble season. And I remember reading an article that
Yeah.
all the NBA players were locked in those rooms for their NBA season during 2020 COVID. Disney put all these extra large beds in there because these guys are 7 foot,
Yeah.
and then as soon as that season was done, they ripped out those beds and just trashed them because who knows what happened on those beds during.
Oh, geez.
These guys are trapped and they get to see their spouse once every 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
Oh,
They could have
man.
auctioned them. I'm sure they would have made a pretty penny.
oh, they probably
Yeah,
would have,
right?
stained and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Stained and everything.
but yeah, the Coronado, I always forget about Grandestino Tower. One of the best views in all of Disney World is up there in the top, by
Mhm.
Toledo. And what's
Yeah.
the bar up there?
Delilah? Delilah? Is it Delilah?
I don't remember. But,
Dahlia. Dahlia?
Dahlia.
That's
Dahlia.
it.
Yeah,
Dahlia.
but
Dahlia.
it's an awesome view up there. You can see all the way over to Universal from there.
Yeah.
So
it's cool.
really cool view up there if you've never done that before. And Toledo is a great restaurant. Great
Mhm.
restaurant. The tapas there are great.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, exclusive club level perks, concierge level, club level. It's just a whole lounge that they have access to. So it's one of the things about staying on property. Number 15.
All right. Last thing is you get, and we kind of touched on this before, better last minute lightning lane and dining availability. More slots open up for top attractions and restaurants. So it's easier to get what you want if you're
When you're staying on
staying
property. I mean,
right
yeah,
there.
you're going to be connected to the Disney services, the Wi-Fi, where you're not going to be where you're at. You're going to have a little bit, different access when you're seeing things, timeliness. It's just all about being in the Disney bubble. It really is. Disney does
Mhm.
prioritize resort guests, in almost every fashion when you're staying on property. They really do. And they'll always bend over backwards. From a concierge at Pop Century will even do it for you to try to help you out, where you don't get that level service at an off-property resort. Even if they do have free transportation, which a lot of the off-property ones do, they don't have access to the Disney system like the concierge and the Disney hotels do. So
Right.
I've always found it that the resorts will always try to they don't like to say no to you. They'll always try to solve for yes, and try to make things happen for you when you're staying at a Disney property. So that's one of the cool
Mhm.
things. And because we do have, you know, I'm not going to spend a long time on this, but I did have a few things that I asked ChatGPT to give me as far as some reasons to stay off property, because we do all have families. I have specific families that they own property in the area, and they're going to go to their, you know, their timeshare in Orlando. And I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to sit here on this call and say if you're not staying on Disney property, you're not going to experience, you know, great Disney, because you are. And I do have families that you know, come to me for tickets only, and I'm sure you guys do too. So obviously there's, you know, if cost really is a factor, you know, you're going to spend probably a little bit less staying off property. You know, you're going to sacrifice some things, but lower cost for some families is the only way that they get to Disney World, you know. So sometimes you can, obviously, if you're traveling with multiple families, there's a reason maybe to get a VRBO or a Airbnb. You can get a whole house and split it, and it could, you know, be a little bit less for that. I know for me, and I don't know that I really agree with this one, you know, more grocery options and dining options. I mean, Disney's got dining so much everywhere on property.
Yeah.
And I actually love the fact that it's not commercial dining too, for the most part, you know, unless you go to Disney Springs. Grocery options can be debatable. I mean, I get grocery delivery.
I was going to say, you can still get groceries delivered to
It's
your
an easy go
resort.
puff.
You know,
Yep.
Mr. Olivier will take you to Publix and
Yes,
let you
he
go grocery
will.
shopping. FYI.
exactly. I was just going to say, Beth, you read my mind. There's always something about going to a Publix or a Winn-Dixie when I'm in Orlando that makes me feel like, I don't know, it's part of the Disney vacation.
Getting your
Yes.
breakfast items and your cases of water.
Yeah.
Yep.
A perk of staying off property is during peak seasons, and I'm gonna sell this one by saying that you should try Disney first. But if you happen to plan too late and they are sold out, because that does happen. I've had to tell families no when they're trying to be last minute. You can almost always find something off property. You know, there'll be something that we'd be able to, because we do what they call good neighbor hotels too. You know, we can help you with that, good neighbor hotels. And then obviously some chains will reward their members if you happen to be a member of Hilton's plan or Marriott's plan. So those are the things that I want to, you know, say about staying off property. I have some families that love Universal, and we love Universal here too at Moments of Magic. We'll help you plan your Universal vacation, your Disneyland vacation. We'll help you plan your Adventures by Disney, which we call the unicorn here, you know. But, you know, there's how you do that. So it's just incredible to use Brandon or to use Beth or to use Jen, because we are going to treat every one of your vacations like our own. That's one of the things that I always try to do. That's why I got into this, because I was doing this for free for so many years for people, helping them. And I'm like, hey man, Mickey owes me a piece of the pie. So
for sure.
You know, so anything else, guys, before we wrap up?
I will say, guys, we do have, I only did the top 12.
Okay.
As far as the list to wrap it up in a bow, but yeah.
If you're hearing that voice from Abyss, that is John, our producer, in the background.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yes, the wizard.
The wizard. He's a man behind the curtain.
And I go.
So John is going to put a graphic up right now. These are some of the perks. Obviously, I think these are the top 12 that we talked about. A couple of them we found to be not quite as, you know, magical as we thought. But for the most part, you know, if you guys are taking notes here, you don't have to, you can just copy them right from here. These are all the top perks for staying on property. Pause this, take a screenshot, save it to your iPhone, and use this as the argument when you're arguing with your husband as to why you should stay on property.
Yep.
We give you the fuel for it. So thank you, John. All right. I think we got some great topics coming up. I know we're going to talk in the very near future about the hidden secrets of Walt Disney World. There's so many cool reasons why Walt did this or did that most people walk by some of these things and never even notice. For me, it's one of my favorite things. I have a book with, you know, about 1,000 different things in there that I always try to experience something new every time I go. So we're going to talk that, and we got some other great topics coming up, but we got to get Alyssa better. And we look forward to having more of our agents on as well. Thank you, Brandon.
Yes.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you guys for hopping on.
You.
Appreciate you being available for us tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry about all the tech issues, but this was so fun.
Oh,
good.
We thrive on tech issues. always seems to happen. But we got a great producer and John in the background to make sure that we're doing great. So, all right, for John, who's not on camera, thanks for being with us, guys, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And don't forget to subscribe and like, so you never miss any of our podcasts. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.